Samach Dalet with Bay is about four lines from the bottom. So the mission spoke about how much. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, is that good? That's good. So the question was. We spoke about if a husband is supporting his wife and they're not in the same house, whatever reason, a business trip, whatever it might be, he's away and they're not living in the same house. So how much food he has to give? If he's in the same house, it seems that they eat together. That doesn't have to say something specific of how much he has to give her. But if she's alone, so how much food he has to give? And I spoke about chitim, sorim, and the Mishnah said chitim is 2 kav. Yesterday we went through that. How many meals do you get out of 2 kav? The Gemara came out, it's enough for 2 meals. Plus Shabbos, as many meals as you need, and also maybe for some guests. That was the end of the Gemara yesterday. And then the Mishnah also said the Sorim is double. The Sorim is 4 kav, it's barley. And the verse said that only Rabbi Shmuel is talking because he was next to Edom. And over there, what? They eat barley. And it sounds like other places they don't eat barley. They don't eat barley other places besides Edom. So the Mishnah, the one explains the Mishnah. The point is not that he says there's a share for sorim. Yeah, people eat sorim, and people might give barley bread instead of wheat bread. But the point is that he gave such a big difference. He said that the wheat is 2 kav and barley is double. Why double? That's a lot. That's a lot. Do you need double barley than wheat? And that he says that only Rabbi Shmuel said so because the quality of the sorim in Edom were poor quality, and that therefore, if you're going to give barley instead of wheat, so you have to give double. But other places, there would be a different amount. It would be not so much. There also would be a possibility of giving sorim instead of chitim, but it wouldn't have to give so much. On the bottom, it said also, Kitnius, which spoke about wine. I'm sorry, first it didn't speak about wine. That's the point. It spoke about wheat or barley, and then about kitnius and shemen and figs, and that's it. Four components of her diet, and it doesn't say wine. And wine was a regular thing in those days. Nowadays we have all kinds of drinks, but there was either water or wine. That was it. So I guess the Mishnah doesn't. I don't think so. I think the milk was for the kids, only for their babies. And most of them they made cheeses out of it. Most of it was used, but that's also that's not to give it. That's considered a luxury. This is talking about Anisha Yisrael. And it doesn't say wine, and it sounds like the wine is like a basic thing that even the was asking, how come she doesn't get wine? Juices. They didn't have too many juices. They didn't use juices. The Gemara does talk about pomegranate juice when they had a lot of pomegranates, but they didn't use juices. Nowadays, we're much more into juices and sodas and all kinds of drinks. Right. So it talks about wine. Really, that's a good example because over there it says that wine, and grapes, and olives. Those are the things that's the risa, and usually other things are not. The Gemara talks about things that people do to simverimonim in a place where people do. Like you're saying that there are some places where they use fruit juices, and then it'll be drabanan. Maybe it's not that the rice is only on schita. A side point about these find that they used to squeeze for fruit juices. So if they do, like the pomegranates, the Gemara says, yeah, there are some places based Menashe. It says over there they used to have a lot of pomegranates and they would squeeze it and make juice out of it, but it wasn't so standard. So I'm just pointing out that the drink of the time was mostly wine or water. It seems you don't have to say water. Water is pashut. She can get water on her own. That wasn't such an issue. But it doesn't say wine. And that's what the Gemara is going to talk about. It doesn't talk about things that it does say in the Mishnah about the legumes and the oil. There's no problem with that. But that's the absence, that it doesn't say, the silence, that it doesn't say wine. Top of the page, don't give wine. It's not good to give wine to a woman. Rashi, I think Muslims talk about that. It arouses her to an urge, sexual urges, and when her husband's not around, then it's not advisable. That's the pasuk in Hosea. Over there, it's talking about a woman that she says she's going to go after her lovers, and those who give me the bread and water, semer, pishtim, wool and linen, oil and shikuyoy, which usually means mashke, means my drink. So that means that the woman does get drinks. Over there, I wouldn't have understood the kasha. Over there, it's talking about her lovers, means her paramours, and not about her husband. So maybe they do give her wine. But I don't see the kasha so much. But the Gemara is asking that it's mashma that the woman does get these things from her husband, and it says shikuyoy. The Gemara thinks that it means drink, which would mean wine. Like the Gemara doesn't even have a problem that if it says drink, it means wine. So that seems that that was the main drink. The Gemara answers it doesn't mean that shikuyoy doesn't mean drink, doesn't mean mashka. The word shikuyoy is from the word chuka, not from the word mashke. Chuka means desires, things that women like. What is that? Jewelry, things that adorn themselves with. That's what the word chikuyoy means. Not the pashup shot, it's a drash. But the Gemara is saying that the woman, it's not good for them to have wine. Lugamar, Darash, Rabbi Yehuda, Ishkfar, Neviria, Rahmud Ishkfar, Nefor, Chai, or wherever it was from. Two versions. Also on the side, it says other versions of what the names of the places were from. What does he say? He's going to bring a source to this halacha. What do you know a source that you don't give wine to a woman when her husband is not there? That's the pasuk. Over there, it's talking about when Chana, she didn't have children and she was sad, and she went to daven in the Mishkan, and that's when Eli saw her. It's the beginning of Shmuel. So it says Chana got up after eating. The pashup shot means after eating in Shiloh and after drinking. After eating and drinking. Over there it says achla without a mapake. It doesn't mean her eating. It says in the pashup shot it means after eating and drinking. Shaso. That's the pashup shot. But the more astonishing is if it says shaso means that he drinks and not her. Shaso below shasas. The more saying a drash to say that only he drank and she did not. Even though it says over there that she was with her husband. The Gemara, we'll get to that later. But here the Gemara says that he drank after his drinking. That Chana got up after her eating, achla, her eating and his drinking. So that's the mashma that she didn't drink. So you see that it's not appropriate for a woman to drink wine. When it says eating, and the Gemara is mentioning here, it's also a drash that achla means her eating. That means that only he ate and she didn't eat. Doesn't mean that he also ate. No, the Gemara says no. Anan midishani kro b'dibure kamina. We're only talking about the change. The word alone, we wouldn't be impressed. Achla means her eating and his eating, and shasa could mean also her drinking. It could have meant that, but the fact that it changes the pasuk. Mechti b'gavok asik b'asi. My time as Shani was talking about her. The pasuk's talking about her. That after she finished eating, it doesn't have anything to do with his drinking and eating. It has to do with her. That she got up after she finished eating and drinking. So why does it talk about his drinking? It's true. The fact that it wouldn't say her eating, it could say that his eating, he also ate. And if it says his drinking, it could have meant that she's also drinking. But it's talking about her. The subject is her. So why did it bring in him? My time is Shani. Why did it change the subject to talk about him? Shlamina shaso v'lo shasas. That he drank and she did not. That's the remez that the Gemara brings, that the woman is not appropriate for her to drink wine. Meisvei, kasha from a brisa, it says that brisa regila nosanla. If she's used to wine, we do give her wine. So that's against what you said, that you don't give a woman wine. The Gemara says, Regila Shani, if she's used to it, then it's okay. Rashi on the top says, when she's used to it, it doesn't affect her so much. It doesn't get, if she's used to it, that doesn't affect her so much. If she's not used to wine, then it'll affect her too much. We find also that Shmuel says so. So he does say something about Regila. He says something about a woman is usual to drink wine, she gets wine. But the words he says don't make sense, because it says if she's used to getting wine, you give her 1 cup. If she's not used to, you give her 2 cups. That doesn't make sense. That's going the wrong direction. My kama, what does that mean? It means the following. The Gemara is going to say two pshatim. Regila b'fnei bala shnei kosos kama, then shelo b'fnei bala nosen lakos echad. If when she's with her husband, she usually drinks 2 cups. So then, when the husband is not there, she could take 1 cup. Means give her even a little bit less than she's used to. Then don't give her anything. If she only drinks, even regila is not regila a little bit. Just because she drinks 1 cup, don't give her anything. But if by her husband she would drink 2 cups, so then you can give her 1 cup. So that's the answer. That answers the kasha already. That we said don't give wine, and here in the Brisa it says regila you do give. So the answer is regila. How regila? At least 2 cups. If she usually is regila to have 2 cups, and then give her. Don't give her the whole 2 cups. Her husband is not here, but then give her 1 cup. If she's not only regila with 1 cup, that's not called regila, and don't give her anything. Iboy same another terrorist answer the kasha that before we said don't give wine, here it says regila you do give wine. Regila you don't give her for drinking, you give her for cooking. That sometimes the gourmets they put wine into the food. So if she's used to that, if she's on that level that she puts wine into her cooking, so then give her for that, but don't give her for drinking. And that doesn't make shikar, it seems. It seems it doesn't make drunk.
No,
it doesn't take it.
This last shalom b'fnei bala einot nimla kol ikar.
Yes.
So is that like, I don't understand, a blanket statement that
No, if you look on the screen, if you look on the screen, just how to there's Regila b'fnei baal l'shnei kosos, then shelo b'fnei baal l'nosim l'kos echad. And the next thing, Ein regila b'fnei baal l'kos echad, then shelo b'fnei baal l'nosim l'kos echad. If she only drinks when her husband is there, 1 cup, that's her norm. Then when her husband is not there, don't give her anything. If when she's with her husband, she would drink 2 cups, then even without her husband, she could drink 1 cup. Then we give her 1 cup. Regila means that she's very used to wine. She drinks 2 cups. I don't know what it means. 2 cups a meal a day. I don't know what it means exactly. But if she's very rugged, then you can give her some wine, a little bit less than usual. But if she's only a little bit rugged, that's not enough to be considered rugged. Don't give her anything. That's 2 terutzim. Iboy Sema means if you want, I can say the 2 terutzim, 2 possibilities. The first possibility is you do give her to drink if she's very, very rugged. Second there says don't give anything to drink, just give her for cooking.
But this is considered different than I thought the normal drink was some kind of a diluted wine.
Every wine is diluted.
I thought the normal drink was wine, so.
That's what we're talking about.
Well, she has to drink.
So she'll drink water. If she's not with her husband, she should drink water. Or, as Mike said, maybe she should get some fruit juice if she wants. It's not so normal in those days, but get some fruit juice. But if she wants to have wine, it says it's only for a woman who is with her husband or that she's very used to drinking wine. She drinks 2 cups, maybe 2 cups twice a day.
It was a normal drink, but it was a tasty drink.
It's tasty and it's also intoxicating. So that's a problem. There's a problem with having. Of course, it was diluted. In those days, all wine was diluted. That's what we went through a couple of times. That in those days, wine was
Yeah, I
diluted.
know we've gone through it, but I thought it was more like a
Soft drink.
Yeah, I thought it was more like a.
That's something that people get drunk from a drunk from a soft drink also.
Okay.
Every time you see an
Iba is Ema?
it means there is another way of
Right.
looking
If, literally, if you want, I'll say.
if you want.
Iba is Ema. If you want, I'll say. If you want, I can say another teretz. If you want, I'll say this. That regila doesn't mean you give her to drink. It means you give her for cooking. Tzike kedei, Rashi says it means to taste, to enhance the taste of the food. I don't know the literal translation. Rashi says that it means to make the food tasty. Rashi says lahatim tafshin. You put it into the
Does
food.
that usually mean that the first answer is not as strong?
Lahatim tafshin.
Yeah,
You
okay.
mean the first option or the first answer is not as strong? And
No, it doesn't mean anything. Two possible, yeah, two possible answers. What the post we're going to say, I don't know. But either both of them could be true. It might both be true. The second there seems to say that they don't give anything for drinking. I don't know what we're going to pass to. Okay, the application today is going to depend on. Okay, it doesn't happen nowadays. The whole thing doesn't happen. People are not much
Almost a bottle of wine in our brisket coming. Rosh Hashanah's coming.
A bottle of wine for
cooking.
cooking.
Brisket, for cooking meat.
a bottle of wine.
Almost a bottle.
can you come for a little business?
Okay, we have to find out the recipe.
That's very good. I really do.
That's the main secret ingredient. It's not so secret.
The word talks about the tzikek. There were people that were used to that. On that bracket, they would put a lot of wine for cooking. Here the Gemara is going to say that she used even more than you. Everybody knows that Ben Gurion was one of the rich people of Yerushalayim. He was willing to support Yerushalayim for 22 years. We had Ben Kalba Savur the other day. He's also Nagdim Ben Gurion. Right. That's why he's called Nagdim, right? That he wanted to, he supported the people with water for the Holy Regel, right? Famous person, big tzaddik. So it says and now his kala, his daughter-in-law. So what was the case? Either that his son was mashra, that he had gone away, so they had to give her food, or the case was that he died, and therefore she was supported from his estate. So they had to see how much muzona she's supposed to get. So over there, they gave her sasayim yain. I think my cheshbon came out that it's the volume of 288 eggs. That's the volume. Probably have to use a liquid measure, but that was for the cooking alone for a week. Every week she was used to cooking with so much wine that they gave her on a weekly basis sasayim. That's how much the Chachamim evaluated that she could use for her cooking.
So 2 things. First of all, we can point out she used a lot of wine. Also, she had a lot of guests, so she had a lot of cooking. She had a lot of
It could be,
visitors.
but
People came to
but that means that actually it becomes a big chiddush that we're giving her support from her husband's estate for their big parties.
Lavish parties.
I don't know if that's true.
After parties, but you said that's not sorry.
That's the husband's estate is going to pay for her achnasas
No,
hara.
because it could be. Other than
He died already, but we passed even after he died also.
she's used to
If
having
that's
every
what they used to
Shabbos
do.
meals with 5 guests. She feels
Like,
Lonely if she doesn't have her 5 guests, Shabbos.
okay, it could be a big chiddush that the chiddush that there's a chiv to support a wife from the husband's estate after he dies. With that's a chiddush. Okay, it's not.
Okay, fine.
I mean,
Why
even
is
if it's
this
like
CK
famous, it's a famous
there?
house of.
Everybody comes in after the husband dies. It's going to quiet down. Nobody's there anymore. She feels like a real almana. So you have to keep it. You have to keep it going.
It doesn't spice up the food. She doesn't want to turn people away.
Then it's going to die. If she turns people away, I mean, it's going to die down. That's the point. If she has the money to support it, then she's going to die down. Okay, I didn't think of that.
The wine was a maximum when she was drinking it. And you don't give her less than all of these things. However, wine, don't give her more.
Right, but here the Gemara is saying that they gave her this much. That means that they that's also a chiddush that you can take so much. It's true. Until now, Tursig was talking about the maximum. Also, the minimum, how much the maximum was. Don't give too much. But there was a point. Is there a minimum? Does she have? Is she entitled?
In all of these things, if she's cooking with wine, you can give her as much as if you feel like giving her more, you could.
But now we're coming to Bezdin to evaluate how much should we take out of the husband's estate in order to give her. So we have to evaluate how much she needs. We're not going to give her as much as she wants. We can't decide on the husband's cheshbon how much to take away from him. Here,
When it comes to the basting says give her at least this much, and then the husband could give her more if he wants.
oh yeah, right, yes, but here it seems that is talking about that. Yes, surely, yes,
And also
but here
When it
here
comes
is
to her drinking, then don't give
you're
her
right,
more.
No, also
100%
with-
right. But here it seems it's talking about that he already died. That's the pasha is going that he already died, and now we're going to evaluate how much could she take out of the estate there on her account.
He's dead, the husband.
There are two things that happened. The Mishnah Bayas was talking about Mashra. That means that he's really alive and he's not home. So we're giving Hamad. That was whole Mishnah. But here, in these cases, we talks about Kalasa. I think that that we'll see in a second. Mamash is saying the Muslim will talk about it. One more line. It seems that the husband died, and now we're taking from the estate how much to support her. So we also have to evaluate not to give her too much. You can't just make lavish parties. So that was the question. How come we're taking out so much? So this is a big volume, like a barrel of wine. So just for cooking alone. You were saying something, Lady Yaakov?
Well, if the husband's alive and he wants her to drink 4 cups of wine, it would be fine.
No, we would say it's not a smart thing to do because she's going to become too used to sexual arousement.
If he's home,
That's
If
totally
he's home,
so.
what's the point?
If he's not home, if he's home, she could.
If he's not, if
He's
he's
not
alive
home.
and he's not home.
Right.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's not
what I'm
advisable
saying
that
is if he's-
a woman
if
should
he's-
drink wine not in the presence
Of
of her
course,
husband.
and if he's home, of course, it can be whatever they agree on.
Right.
I see, okay.
So she was upset. She was very rich woman, and that they decided to only give her this amount of wine for cooking. She said she cursed them. That should come to your daughters. Like in her eyes, that was very little. So she said, like your daughter should get such a kind of psika when they need it in their time. Not that she was hoping that they should die or anything. Anybody should need it, but like she wanted, like a rich person has a different concept of what a curse is. So
I'm sorry, who was this?
this is the daughter-in-law of Nagdim Ben Gurion. The daughter-in-law of Nagdim Ben Gurion.
Was it the Kalso show?
Kalasa, right? The daughter-in-law of Nagdim Ben Gurion that the Chachamim made this amount for her to be eligible to receive, and she cursed them and said, "That's what your daughter should get." Now, usually they would say Amen. Later on, there's a Gemara that says that same story, similar. That she said also she was upset about what they decided. It was too little, and she gave them a curse that they should get that for their daughters. And the other Gemara says that they said Amen, because for them it's a big bracha. But here it says they didn't say Amen. The story was that her husband had died without children, and that's why she was getting supported to until she gets Yibum or Chalitza. And that's why they didn't answer Amen, because they didn't want their daughters to have the inside a similar situation. But in the regular situation that eventually the husband dies and she has to be supported, they would have said Amen. Or if the husband is just leaving for business trips and say they need amount to be able to support it.
Because of the support.
Yeah, so if it would have been just the amount, they would have said Amen. Alavai that we should have that for our
She was
daughters.
waiting for you.
And the scenario was a sad scenario that her husband had died, and so that's why they didn't say Amen. But later on, we're going to see another story where she said such a kind of a curse in a different scenario. And I forgot if it was the same woman or somebody else, but over there they did say Amen, because even though in her eyes it was a curse, but they were very happy with such a blessing.
Such quantity.
Second wide line, Tana, Kosechad Yafalisha, 1 cup is appropriate for a woman. Shnaim Nivolu, 2 are disgusting, which becomes disgusting when she drinks 2 cups of wine. Shlosha tovas bepeh. 3, she'd already demand relations, and that's not tova. She demands verbally. Usually, the woman is only supposed to hint to her husband that she's interested, and the husband's supposed to get the hint. She dresses up, she puts on perfume, whatever it is, in order to arouse him. But tovas bepeh is not proper for a woman to say openly that she wants relations. But here, she's already becomes more.
And I know
It's more bold.
Vast, not only she's Tuvea.
It could be, but I think that's always. I think that's always the term that's used whenever it talks
Why
about.
Chazal wanted that she shouldn't ask?
It's not proper. It's not womanly. Let's call it that way. That's not the way.
Also, she's supposed to be receiving, he's supposed to be mashpia, so she
So
should
she
be the
aroused
one
her.
going
and
like
and,
sort of
and
ins-
pulling him. That's not the way it's supposed to be. Arba, afilu chamar tovas b'shuk ve'ena makpedes. And 4, the Gemara is exaggerating. It seems that even she would be willing, even with a bestiality, even relations with an animal, with a chamor, even with a donkey. So that means that she loses it, and she would. So some have the gears of toveya.
Who's toveya, the chamor?
Right, the word, that's the problem here, because it says
I see.
tovas. The tovas means feminine. So they change the gears, so they take out the top, and it says toveya. Afilu chamar toveya, even if a donkey would demand, so she would give in. She wouldn't care about that. The argues it says tovah, so that means that she's toveh the
She's like a
chamor.
chamor in the
No, that she would be toveh a chamor or a chamor. She would be toveh the chamor. She would she would get the chamor to have relations with her,
What's the animal?
and she doesn't care about it. She wouldn't even
Oh,
care
and she
about
doesn't
that.
care that she's
Having relations
she's
with
humiliating herself.
a animal. So wine very sensitive for women, not to be careful. How does it say on the bottle? To drink with moderation. Drink with moderation. Moderation, and the women should be more careful than the men. The men take the wine better than the women do.
They say pregnant.
Oh, that's already
Pregnant.
right. That's
That's on
physical.
the
That's
bottle.
physical. Right. That's
That's
physical.
for health.
It should say all women should drink
All
with
women.
with
Not only
moderation.
pregnant.
Oh, when the husband's not home.
I think men.
Right. All this again was
Men
right. This is
aren't like that.
men
will
are
also
men are
get-
not as aroused. It's not so sensitive.
They
Not
will
as
get
sensitive.
aroused, but they'll also become.
Yeah, for sure, it has an effect on them, but not as sensitive. So.
I see.
That's what everybody said now. That's only if her husband is not there. Then there are all these problems. That's not, but if her husband is there, it's no problem. The Master Kasha, the whole source report was from Chana. By Chana it said, Shaso below Shasas, that she didn't drink over there, her husband was there. But Chana the Bali Mahavoy. So what's the problem? Why was Chana careful not to drink wine over there when
Did
she
you say
was?
hot boy? What was the last word?
Yes, right. She was.
What's hot boy?
But
She
Chana
was.
the Bala Imahavoy, her husband was with her. Was. The Havoy was what?
Yeah,
Was.
mhm.
So the answer is Achsano Ishani. Over there is not a problem why they didn't want to have relations, because they were guests. They weren't in their own home. And that's what the was going to say now, that it's not proper for a guest to have relations in his host's home. So since they were on the road, so even though there would be no problem inherently of husband and wife having relations, but since they were on the road and they were staying in by somebody, so then it wasn't proper to have relations. So she didn't want to get aroused. She didn't drink wine. Where we have a source that a guest should not have relations. It does talk about if they bring their own linens, their own strength, then it's okay. But if they don't have, so then it's not considered proper that they should have relations with somebody else. That'll be noticeable afterwards. Shenema v'yashkimu b'boker v'ishtachavu l'fnei Hashem v'yashuvu v'yavo b'sama v'masa v'yedel kanas chana l'shto v'yiskirei Hashem. This is the story over there. The same story by Chana. After
Sorry, what was the end of the pasuk?
v'yiskirei Hashem. Hashem is the last word of the pasuk. So over there, it's talking about that after she got Eli gave her a bracha. That was the story. She davened over there, and then Eli saw that she was talking, and he thought she looked like a drunkard. And then she said, "No, I'm not. I'm bitter because I have no child. I'm barren." And Eli gave her a bracha, and then she was happy. And it says she got up in the morning. They prostrated to Hashem in Shiloh over there. They went back home to Ramasa, and then they had relations. And Hashem reckoned her, remembered her, and they had child. So what do you see? That they only Hashtein Meikar. That's the Gemara's explanation. That only had relations after they came home. What do you see? This is the source that guests on the road should not have relations, and
When
that's
they got back to Rama.
they got back to their place where they lived in Ramah,
In Rama, they got back to Rama,
and then they had
then they had
relations. How come now, not before? Dafka now, because on the road they didn't. When they were in Shiloh, they didn't. So that's the reason why she didn't drink wine, because she didn't want to get aroused to relations. But if they're home, then it's no problem. Less than if they're home, then she can drink as much wine as she wants. She's with her husband. The Gemara says a few stories about wine with women. Choma, that's the name of Abayi's wife. Usually it's spelled with a hey, here it's spelled with an
This
aleph.
is the name of his wife.
Right. It says on the side that in other places it's spelled with a hey. And he says that's the correct girsa. And that was his wife. And the one Yevamos talks about that Abayi was the third husband. She had 2 husbands before that. Over there, it says the whole story. That's the din of Katlanis over there. If we got to marry, and here Abaya married her the 3rd time, some hold we hold you're not supposed to marry. If a woman's 2 husbands died, so then she shouldn't marry again because of Shash that her husbands died. But here it's over there, it says that Abaya held that only 2 husbands are still allowed to remarry, and he married her, and then he also died.
Isn't that the same word as the mother-in-law?
Chamos is the mother-in-law.
Okay, but this is an olive and this is her name.
Right.
Choma. Oh, and that's
All with the hay. Abayi's wife. Choma the Bishop, Abayi's wife. So her husband died, her 3rd husband died, and now she came to get evaluated in Bezdin how much food she should be getting.
Abayi was her 3rd husband.
Abayi was the 3rd husband, and he died.
And he died. Oh, okay, yeah.
That it doesn't say here, but that's from the story you can tell. The Gemara says also that Abayi died. Like says Abayi took a chance, and he also died. The Gemara says that maybe it was because his 2 husbands have died earlier. He should have married her. But the Gemara said Abayi took a chance, and he also
But
died.
it wasn't a chazaka.
That's the question over there. Is a chazaka 2 or 3?
2 or 3. Okay.
We paskin that we're machmir over here. What?
We don't know why they
Why they died? That's the question. Is it attributed to her in any way?
died. Okay.
What's it called?
Katlanis. Choma, the Visu da Abaya, Soila Kamei de Rabba. The Choma, the wife of Abaye, came in front of Rabba. It means after Abaye died, and now she was coming to Bezdin, that they should evaluate how much she should be supported from Abaye's estate. Amalei Psokli is only. She asked that they should give her a set amount of food. Pasakla. So he did. He said how much food she's eligible to take from the estate on a weekly basis or whatever. Psokli Chamra, she also asked for wine. Amallah, brother said to Choma, Yadana baby Nachmeni, the Lord Havishasi Chamra. I know that Abaye didn't drink wine. Nachmeni is Abaye's name. Why is he called Nachmeni? Why is he called Abaye? That's a question. Maybe his real name was Nachmeni, and there only was a nickname Abaye. Whatever reason, that's another name for Abaye. So I know that Abaye does not drink wine. Did not drink wine. So that means not regila. What did we say before? That a woman who would have drunk 2 cups of wine by her husband, so she's eligible to 1 cup also. But I know that Abaye didn't drink wine. So you're not eligible for wine. You didn't get wine in your lifetime, so you don't get wine. What is that?
She drank.
Right, but it seems to be that if he didn't drink, so there was no wine in the house. That was understood. I know Abaye didn't drink wine. I have a pshat. I don't know. I didn't see it, but there's a Gemara in Sanhedrin. I had written down in my Gemara that Abaye holds that Kohanim are not allowed to drink wine. Like the Gemara talks about that they should be ready for the avoda. Mashiach's going to come. They should be ready to do the avoda. So Abaye says Kohanim shouldn't drink wine. The Gemara argues over there. Abaye was a Kohen. It could be the shitaso that he didn't drink wine because he held that a Kohen should not drink. But then his wife could.
What about Shabbos?
Friday.
Maybe that's not called
Rebbe
drinking
doesn't
wine. That's for
drink wine.
kiddush. Maybe that's not. That's
Reb
I don't know
Nemsel
the
doesn't
answer.
drink
What?
wine so that he can suck.
what.
Reb Nemsel wants to always be ready if someone comes and asks a question.
So he
doesn't
should, so doesn't drink wine.
No, I mean, only now it's different because she gave over to his son, but he would do that low Seder. I guess you don't think like one time
He would do what?
later Seder, the women would have to come ask him Shabbos during the Seder.
So what would he do?
He would drink on grape juice in the cup.
Oh, but this was Friday. This is Rebbe.
Friday night he doesn't drink wine.
No, he doesn't make kiddush.
And that's another. I thought it's another difference.
That's what
I thought he
his wife
drank
said
a
is
little
because
bit and
Oh, yeah,
then straight.
Amalei Yadana baby Nachmeni the love Shasicham. I know that Abaye didn't drink wine. Amalei Chaye Dema. She swore. I swear by your life. Chaye by the life of the Rav. To have in Mashkelei. Take out the word the hey Lee Mashkeli. B'shufrazi Kihai. That shufrazi is some kind of big cup, a big goblet. They used to. He would give me to drink in a cup like this. Like, and she showed Kihai as a big shufrazi. Shufrazi is a goblet as big as that. So she showed with her hand how big the cup was. But how did the kamachvi while she was showing, she was expressing how big the cup was. Igli dara, her arm got revealed. Means her sleeve went up and he saw her arm. And she was very beautiful. Nafal nahor bebeidina. The Gemara says a light came in the bezin. It means that the beauty of her arm, he saw it and he was aroused. Come Rava ala Beise, so Rava was the Dayan. He went up, he got out of bezin, he went home. And he requested from his wife to have relations. Meaning, in the middle of the day, he came out of bezin and he said, "I want to have relations now." So she's Amalei. So his wife said, "Amalei Basar Chisda." the Bas Rav Chisda, the daughter of Chisda. Rava married the daughter
Oh,
of
the
Chisda.
boss of Rav Chisda,
Rava's wife is always called Bas Rav Chisda. That's her. I don't know her personal name.
Rav's wife.
Rava's wife. Rava's
Rava's
wife
wife.
was the daughter of. He was Rav Chisda was his father-in-law, and you always call his wife the daughter of Rav Chisda. So Amalei Bas Rav. I don't know why the Gemara chose to call her by her father's name always. Sometimes like Chomo, we call her by her own name. Other Rebbitzins also. Here it calls her the daughter of Rav Chisda. So Amalei Bas Rav Chisda. Man who's there over there in the business? Like what's happening? She realized something happened in the business that he came home in the middle of the day. He had wanted relations. Amallah Choma the Visu Dabaya. She's the one in the business. Nafka Basra Machtala Bekulfa the Shida Adafkila Makula Machuza. She went after her with a club, some kind of a rolling pin, until she got out of the city. So Kofi.
Basra is after her.
Nafka Basra. She went out after her. Yatsa Achareha. Machtala. She hit her. The Kofi the Shida. So usually Kofi means a club. Here Rashi says that it means, what does Rashi say? Rashi says with a manul, the lock of a drawer, of a desk. What it means, a Shida. Shida usually means some kind of a, what do we call a Shida in English?
Closet?
Usually it's like
Drawer?
like next to the bed. What is that called? What is
Night
the
table?
a night table, something like that? That's usually what it means nowadays. That's some kind of a closet, like you said. But Rashi says a manul. I don't know where Rashi knows Kofi means a manul. The idea we get. She took some piece of some house furniture and she went out with her and she hit her until she got out of the city. Kulim mechuza either means the city or it means the city mechuza.
Until she left the
Until
whole
she-
mechuzah.
Right, she got her out of the district. You already killed 3 husbands. You want to kill another one? So she had 3 husbands that died. So what does it mean? That it means that you want to arouse somebody else to marry you. In order, now, of course, she didn't mean that, but she was saying, get out of here. She didn't want that. Okay, what happened at the end of the story about the wine doesn't say. But the Gemara did bring it down because she wanted wine, and she said that she's.
What about this Isha Katanit? What happened to her?
Yes, so she's surely not allowed to marry anymore, because even though Machokas was after 2 husbands, after 3 husbands, she's surely not allowed to. So that that's maybe that's not what she meant either. She meant you killed 3 husbands, now you're killing other people. You're coming around so beautiful, and people are seeing you. Like, watch out, be careful not to kill people. I don't know if she meant to marry somebody else. Rashi said she wanted to marry. It looked like you want to marry somebody else. I think that would be difficult. What does Rashi say? You want to arouse somebody else to marry you? Of course, she didn't mean Rav. Rav was a married man, not that she wanted Dafka to marry him. He's allowed to marry 2 wives. She's allowed to marry. He's allowed to marry 2 wives. But that was Rav's wife wanted to make sure she gets out of town because she was too beautiful. Next story. The Visu. The Rav Yosef Brei the Rava. We had him already before. We had the story over there that he had gone to learn for 6 years, and then he came home after 3 years, and he got into a fight with his father because Rav Yosef Brei the Rava, not the regular Rav Yosef. Rav Yosef Brei the Rava. So his wife. He's after he died.
His wife.
After he died, and
His wife always means after he died, or these are
in
just
these,
in the
according
context?
to the context, right? And she came to Rav Nechemia Brei the Rav Yosef. Amalei Psokli Mizoni, give me a set amount of food. Pasakla, so he did. Then Psokli Hamra, also Pasakla. She asked for wine, he gave her wine also. Because he knew that they drink wine in that place. I know that in Mechuzah, the place where they come from, I know that they drink wine over there. So that's the din that if the woman drank wine in her lifetime, in the husband's lifetime, so then she's allowed to drink also 1 cup. If she drinks 2 cups, usually she gets 1 cup. Next story. The visitor of Yosef Brei of Menashe Mitvil. That's the wife of Rav Yosef, the son of Rav Menashe from the place called the Vil. Asay l'kamed Rav Yosef, Amalei, Amallah, Amralei, so clean the zoning, said, give me a set amount of food. Pasakla, so he did. Psokli Chanra, also wine, also Pasakla, like they drink wine over there. Psokli Shiro, she also asked for garments, she asked for clothing, that they should give her clothing from the state of the deceased husband. Amallah, Shiro, Lama, what do you need clothing for? Your husband died. That means fancy clothing. Shiro means like silks. Chashva garments. Amalei lach ulechavrach ulechavrurach. For you and your friends and your chabura, that a person, a woman, even after her husband, she has to look respectable for the outside, for people, for going to offices, to go to business, that it makes an impression on people if she's dressed honorably. So she needs this too. And it seems that that's the halacha, that she's also eligible to get clothing from the husband's estate. So
I'm sorry, I missed the beginning. This is the daughter, I don't know who this is, Rav Yosef's daughter or something?
where are you holding?
I don't know, do they say with the Rav?
Yosef Brei the Rava.
I'll just highlight it over here. There are a couple of stories here. Here was a Divisud of Yosef Rei the Rava. And then when the next story now, there was the Divisud of Yosef Rei the Menashe Midville. We had also Chomer before. Chomer the Divisud Abaya. Right. So this is switch to which one are you up to?
I'm at the end of Mekipa, meaning, and you're going to kill another one? Is that was the question?
That was then the story. That was the story of
That was the end of the story
Chomer.
of Chomer, right?
Then a new story comes about the wife of Yosef Rei the Rava, that she wanted wine, and he gave it to her because he said that I know in Mechuzah they drink wine. Rava was the Rava of Mechuzah, and over there they drank wine. So he said, yes, you're eligible for wine because I know that your husband did drink wine, and I guess that means a lot
Town
too.
was known for the.
That was Mechuzah. Mechuzah drinks wine.
Yeah.
The Rava
Oh,
was
this is a name. I thought it was the place.
some.
Okay, either way.
Mechuzah sometimes is the name. Mechuzah can mean a district. It also could mean the name of a specific city where Rava was the Rava over there.
Mhm.
And next story, the wife of Rav Yosef Rei the Rav Menashe from Tvil, and she asked for, besides food and wine, she also asked for chashava garments, shiroi, silk garments, and he asked what he needed it for. So she said, for being in the public, I also need to look respectable for you, even for Rabbanim. I go to Bezdin, it's a difference if I come in rags or I come in decent clothing. So it seems that that's the halacha, that she's also eligible to get clothing from the state of the husband. That's
Say
all
it's
good.
Nice clothing.
Shiva usually means silk clothing.
Mhm.
And now we continue. The Mishnah talks about the furniture that she gets. And we said about a bed and also a mat. Two kinds of mats, a matpas and a machsalas. Rashi said one is soft, one is not. Matpas and machsalas lamala, the Yavla. Why does he have to give her these mats? Rashi says the kasha is, or the Gemara is going to say, that the issue is because she has a bed. Why is the bed not good enough? How come she has to have a bed and also these mats? What's wrong with the bed? Use the bed for everything. Amra Papa, Basra Denigi, the model Poya Bachavli, a place where they make the bed out of ropes. Means that some places that Rashi says they would use like a piece of leather, a piece of skin that would be very comfortable. So what's the problem? But some places they use ropes to make how would you call it? Like we use the coils and stuff like that, whatever holds up the mattress. They had the mattress. They had straw, whatever they used. So they would put it on top of ropes that were intertwined. So that's not comfortable to sit on the whole day. The mavgala, Rashi says that the word mavgala means that it makes her old. Maybe the other pshat, the Rashi says lashon bulgaris, that it makes her old. It's painful. It's not comfortable to sit on this kind of a bed the whole day. So to sleep on it is comfortable, but to be sitting wouldn't be comfortable. So she's eligible also to get these mats. Tana Rabbanan. A car is a mattress, kesses is a pillow. That she get also this whole mattress and a pillow. So the Gemara says, what is the norm? If it's the norm, somebody should agree that she does get it. And if it's not the norm, everyone should agree she doesn't get it. Like all these Mishnayos, we really have to update it to nowadays. What's the norm for today? You can't just go with the Mishnah. The Mishnah says so. The Mishnah means another time and place. So that's what the question is. What's the machlokas about? Anything should be whatever's the norm. You should give, and if she's eligible for it, if it's not the norm, then she's not eligible. So the Gemara says the case. That is his norm, and it's not her norm. So Rashi here goes with the Gemara we had before, that the Olimo Bena Yeredisimo, and Rashi's pshat is going to be a little difficult. The other Rishonim argue on Rashi and say that it's not talking about that issue about the bracket. It has nothing to do with the bracket over here. Sometimes if she goes up in his bracket, they do that, the standard of living is higher, so then she's eligible for his standard of living. So we'll learn a different pshat. Here the case is that it wasn't anything to do with the standard of living, but it was that he would sleep with a bed. That was a mattress, a pillow. That was his norm, and she didn't have that. That wasn't her. So it's his norm, and it's not her norm.
Lower. What was his?
His norm is to use a mattress and a pillow.
A mattress and a pillow.
And
Hers.
And she didn't use that. So still, is she eligible to say, I want it to be in my house? Why? Tanakama Savar, Amalak, Yazilna Shekilna Lu, Bechiyasina Maisina Lu. I need it. It's mine. I use it myself. You don't use it. So when I'll come, I'll bring it. When I go away, I'll take it. I don't have to leave it in the house the whole time. But Rav Nasan Savar, Amalei, Zimna de Misrami Ben Ashmashes, V'lam Masis Maisi Lahu, V'shakas Lu Lididi, whatever you need, make sure you have it in my house whenever you, always, in order when you come, you should have it. Because if not, then I'm gonna end up losing, because it's not gonna be enough for both of us. So you'll take whatever I have. It could be just some take out the gear, so it doesn't mean you'll take mine. It means it's not gonna be about enough for both of us. So also, maybe that would be a taina that she could demand that he should always leave it in the house. For when he does come, he should have whatever he needs, that she shouldn't lose out.
Where's he going with them? I don't understand the story.
Business trips.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, but he's a Talmud Chacham, no?
Who's he talking about? Why is
Who
talking
is
about?
this man? It's not
Yeah.
Rav Yossi?
No, it's a story, but it's no case, not a story. It's a theoretical case.
I get,
No, ain't knows no kesses. Ain't knows no kesses. It doesn't talk, not a story over here. We started from Tanur Rabbanan. That's about 6 lines up. That was it wasn't a story. If he's a Talmud Chacham, he's going to learn. If he's a musician, he's going to make concerts, whatever his issue is. Then no saying lo kippah. The next thing is about the clothing. He says that he gives her different articles of clothing, and the Mishnah said that the articles of clothing he gives her once a year, and the shoes 3 times, about a 3 more than. Amalei Papa La Abaye, hi, Amid Beis, hi Tana, Shaliach Hartaloi, Rami Masani. He's the Tana that makes it sound like there's naked and shoes, because the clothing is once a year and the shoes are 3 times a year. Like he's more concerned. The more is very the expression is probably more takes from other places also that don't have mean, but that's the expression that he's stripped naked and wearing shoes. Like what's that? Concerned more about the shoes than the clothing. The clothing you change once a year and the shoes 3 times a year. That's not a place where the shoes get worn out often because they're in a place of mountains and a lot of walking, I guess, up and down, whatever. So you need 3 shoes. The point of the mission is not to say that you need shoes 3 times a year. Regular places, you're right, that shoes is once a year also. But in the place where you need shoes 3 times a year, so it's a good idea to get it for the Chag. And by the way, he's telling you that give it to her for the Chagim. She should have simchas yantiv. So if you have to give shoes anyway, so buy it for the Chagim.
What's Masani?
Masani's shoes.
where's the word 3? I'm looking for 3.
Tlasa, third line, first word, tlasa.
And why not the other clothing?
It says, I'm sorry. It says in the Mishnah, Moed. It says in the Mishnah from the Chag to the Chag, that's 3. The Mishnah doesn't say 3. The Mishnah says Moed L'Moed.
Oh,
That means 3. Pesach, Shavuos, and Sukkot.
Could other things also, buying or anything else. Let's do it. They do it.
Yeah, nice. According to this, it comes out that they're telling you here, if you have something you have to buy a couple of times a year, so do it for the Chag. Buy the clothing. The Gemara said before you have to give it at the beginning of the winter. After the beginning of the winter. So it could be.
It's still too hot.
Maybe.
Maybe
So it
that's
means
why
if you
it's
get
not
it by the Moshe Shaman, like the Gemara says, if you shnit called Moshe
So
Shaman.
it can't be
So
hot,
maybe
right?
not. But if something that you can anyway get at
You're
a certain
buying a
time,
new head coverings.
Yeah,
Right, for
yeah.
circus and then shut.
so besides the halacha that you're supposed to get your wife, she should have clothing for the Chag. So here it's saying that if you have to get something anyway, so get it for the Chag. So she should enjoy the new clothing for the new shoes for the Chag. Kelim shel chamishim zuz, clothing worth 50 zuz for the year. Amar Abaye, chamishim zuz pshiti. So Rashi says there are 2 kinds of currencies. Both of them are called zuz, but there's 2 currencies, and one is called suri, one is called Medina, and the suri currency that means from Tyre, Tzor, Tyre from Tyre. So that was a more refined silver that had over there, and Rashi says it was worth 8 times more. Even though you say the same word, you say a sela. Well, he says a seller Tsuri and seller Medina. You can talk about a zuz, a dinar Tsuri and a dinar of Medina, Medina. So when the Mishnah says you give her 50 zuz of clothing, it doesn't mean on the high currency. It's from the Chamishim zuz pshiti. Pshiti means Rashi says the Medina, the lower currency. 50 zuz of the Medina currency. It says this Mishnah is talking about the poorest, the minimum. Even for the most poor, the minimum is to give 50 zuz. 50 zuz, the Gemara says, is a lot. That's a lot of money. That a poor man should have 50 zuz. Tsuri can't be. So it means 50 zuz Medina. Chamishim zuz mamish, which means Tsuri, only Chamishim zuz manali. But does he have 50 zuz to give clothing? He doesn't have that kind of money. Chamishim zuz pshiti. It must mean the lower currency, which is an 1/8 of that. And that only has. That's the Mishnah. What it says here, the Gemara is not going to talk about these words, but after that, it talks about the Gemara talks about it talks about all these halachas about giving the wife the clothing, the food. Tanur Rabbanan, most of mazonos lebal. What if there's leftover food? He gave her food, and she has leftover. Who has rights to the leftovers? So here it says it goes back to the husband. If she doesn't need it, so then it goes back to the husband. Most of below is Leisha. But the leftover of the clothing goes to the woman. This is going in the Mishnah. I'm sorry. The Mishnah says that he gives her the clothing in the winter when it's still warm, and then she wears it the whole winter and it gets rubbed out, worn out, and then it's good for the summer clothing. Now it's already cool clothing, and that's good for the summer. And then she has the shchokim. She has the leftover rags that are not even good for the summer anymore. And then she gets a new set of clothing for the new year. Who has the right to keep those old rags? So she does. That's the Mishnah Shchokim Shalah. And that's what the Gemara is going to explain now. Why does she get the rags for? What does she do it for? What does she use it? What she needs rags, you're saying?
I think so. Like we do, if you don't go buy rags in the house, the floors and then the cave, then you're in trouble.
So I thought the Gemara was going to say that. It doesn't say that.
Doesn't it?
And the Gemara is going to say she still uses it as clothing. Why does she need the rag? Why does she need worn out clothing for? She uses it when she's a nida. That's her nida clothing. Why? That she shouldn't become disgusting to her husband when she's not a nida. It means if she uses the same clothing when she's a nida and when she's not, so then it would get stained from the blood. And then when she's going to become Torah, she's going to have the clothing which is not such clean clothing. So she doesn't want to have that. She wants to have that when she's a nida. She should have clothing, garbage clothing, and then she uses that when she's a nida. And then when she becomes Torah, she'll be able to have good clothing. So that's the reason why she's eligible to keep the shchakim. She'll use it when she's a nida. Shchakim. That's in the Mishnah. That means the worn out clothing. If you turn to, let's go scroll back. Where's the Mishnah?
We didn't see that. Is that a shear?
No. That's what I was talking about, the shchotim.
You're talking about the heaven. The heavens is shchakim.
It's on
What's it, the one that's
64B.
It's at one of the levels of the heaven.
Shchakim shalom. That's not what it means. It's a shochakin. You talked about grinding the other day. Grinding the man for the tzaddikim. That's a Gemara in Chagiga. But here's the word shchakim. It means the worn out clothing. Shchakim shalom. So that's not the was explaining. Why does she need shchakim for? She needs the shchakim for her nidas. When she's a nida, she'll wear those rags. This was on. That was on. What that was that?
64B.
64B, fourth wide line. Also, yeah. Where are we?
We're at Amarabaye.
Amar Abaye. Naktinan. Moshe belongs to Amana Liyarsha. Still now we're talking about the Moshe belongs when he's Mashra Ashishta, that he's supporting her when she lives by herself. So then it says that the leftover clothing she keeps, and the Gemara said the reason why she keeps it is because she wears it when she's a nida, in order she should be beautiful when she's not a nida. But what if she's an almana? Like we said, the case is also talking about if the husband dies, then she gets supported. So here, what do you do with the leftover clothing? She got supported from the estate. She got food, she had clothing also, and now she has leftover clothing that's not usable anymore. So who gets that? The Yorshav. It goes back to the Yorshav. Why? Here we said the only reason why she's eligible to keep the rags is because she wants to wear it when she's a nida, in order that her good clothing shouldn't get stained. But here she doesn't have a husband. Her husband died already. She has no big difference if she wears clothing that are not so clean when she's an almana. So that's why the Yoshim get back the rags.
Well, they can do that.
They'll do what you said. They'll cut it up and make it into shmatus, smatutim. No say la'amar kesef. Then it says also about that doesn't go on that. It goes on the next words that Shabbos, which literally means that she eats with him every Friday night. What does it mean? The simple words that she eats, even though she's not living with him the whole week around, but on Friday night they eat together. It means relations, that they have relations on Friday night. Ravashi says that. That's Pshat the Mishnah. The more says why it says ochelas. It says that's the word. Ochelas means to eat. How do you see tashmish in the word ochelas? The word ochelas means to eat. It doesn't mean relations. The answer is lishnamali. There's such a lishnamali means how do you translate lishnamali?
A nice way.
A nice way of saying it. What's that? Euphemism. And it's supposed to in Mishnah is talking about a zone over there, and it says that she eats and she wipes her mouth and she says, I didn't do anything bad. That means that she gets rid of all the evidence, she wipes her mouth. And over there it's talking about znus. So you see, when I talk about znus, relations, over there it's talking about illicit relations. Yes, talking about husband. But still, the act of relations is sometimes used as a euphemism. We'll say the word achla. It's called eating. And she wipes her mouth. I mean, she wipes that also makram. So you see, so that's a pshat in the Mishnah. The eating take achelas literally, that it means eating, or could mean relations. Meisvei, akasha from a brisa. Rav Shimon and Gamliel Omer, achelas v'leila Shabbos b'Shabbos. The brisa, Rav Shimon argues on the Mishnah. The Mishnah says that they eat, whatever the word eat means. It means Friday night and also Shabbos day. It means our Mishnah says only Friday night. Rav Shimon and Gamliel argues and says Shabbos day also. So if it means eating, Bishlam al-Man, that's the end of the brisa. Achelas v'leila Shabbos b'Shabbos. So now the Gemara takes over. If it means eating, so Tanna Kama says they eat together Friday night, and Rav Shimon says they eat together Friday night and also Shabbos morning. Is there possible to have relations in the daytime? The Gemara is hinting that it's not proper to have relations during the daytime, only at night. So what's that have to do with relations are not in the daytime? The Gemara Yisrael Kedosha, or the Gemara says it explicitly. Yisrael Kedosha, maybe Amisham Shemit Hussein Bayom. The Ram Yisrael are holy and they don't have relations in the daytime. And here, what's the problem? What's the issue about having relations in the daytime? Yom Leil Shabbos and Shabbos? The answer is, if it's a darkened room, then it's permissible even in the daytime. It only means daytime when it's light. But if you could darken the room, so then it's permissible. So therefore, Rav Shimon Gamliel also could mean that they have relations at night and also in the daytime. The Rishonim ask over here, that's only as permissible, but there's no reason why you should have to. Why should you have to have relations in the daytime? To have relations at night. What does it mean that they're supposed to have relations in the daytime also? Some say that it means either or. It means either at night or in the daytime if they make the dark, if they darken the room. Some say that it's talking about a poel or somebody who's supposed to have relations twice a week, and now that he's not there, he's Mashra Ishto, she's living by herself, he's living separately, and they get together once a week. So what's going to be with the relations? He's chayiv because Ona, he's chayiv to have relations twice a week, and he wasn't around, let's say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday wasn't around, so they could do 2 times in the same day. So they have relations both Friday night and again Shabbos afternoon, Shabbos, and making the room dark. So the Gemara leaves it that it's possible both pshatim. You could say that it means relations. You could say that it means eating. The Gemara doesn't decide between these 2 opinions. The post can say we pass like the first one, the Yama, that it means eating. That they're supposed to eat together. That even if he's not living together with her the whole week, but Friday night they have to eat together. He's responsible to eat together Friday night with her. That's going to be the story with Chafetz Chaim over there. Even though he was with us over there, it's talking about, yesterday we said a story with Chafetz Chaim, but over there he was living with his wife in the same house. So there's no special din about a Simo.
What was the story?
The story was that the Rebbe called up, sent a message, can I eat by you Friday night? And he said yes. And then he said, we eat, the women eat in the kitchen. They eat somebody's house. So he said, no, I can't. So is that, did he mean it as a sharp word, or did he mean it literally? Because the Sukkah is talking about that he's not living with her in the same house. So then it's at least Friday night eat together. It could be that if you see that even when they're not living together, but living together also, there's a fear to eat together with the wife Friday night. Maybe the Chafetz Chaim in that story meant literally that even if they're living together the whole week also, they're supposed to eat together Friday night. You can't send her away to eat by herself.
Was it written on the Kesuvos that he said, I reckon I read for the Kesuvos?
It doesn't, yeah, but giving Ksuba doesn't mean that everything has to be written. There are many things that are not written. The whole paragraph here it doesn't say. That's called Tanai Ksuba. That when a person gets married, he's obligated. It doesn't. Most of it doesn't say. It only says very general. The Ksuba is very general. It just says that I'm going to support my wife. I'll honor her, like the good Jews that honor their wives with. That it means he's chayiv to pay the Ksuba even from the shirt off his back. But it doesn't talk about all the obligations that Ksuba is mechayiv. It doesn't say that. It doesn't say it in English. But that's what it means. I gave Ksuba means that I married her, so I'm mechayiv to her, whatever marriage obligates. So I'm just wondering if he meant it literally, or the Mishnah, even though it's talking about Mashra Ishto, that she's not living with him the whole week, then he has to eat with her Friday night, or that's lav dafka, means even is the whole week not, but Friday night for sure. And if they're all living together, also Friday night there's an obligation to eat together. Someone shouldn't go to, if such a case, they're going to a place, but it's going to be separate seating in different rooms, whatever it might be. So the wife has the right to say,
I thought that we can't learn from the story.
yeah, I'm not even from the story. I'm aroused.
So
I'm
here,
right. I'm aroused.
It could be that he thought it was a chutzpah to ask, and this was a nice way to.
Yes. I presented.
Because you have a minhag. I should change what I do.
And also that is not right to the wife. Maybe it's something you should also eat with your wife Friday night. Not only I should, you also gave Ksuba to your wife. But I'm around. I'm not learning from the story. I'm asking what's the halacha? If someone is not mashra ishto, she's not lives with him the whole week. Is he obligated to eat with Friday night? And there's no such thing. In other words, if it's true, the way the Chafetz Chaim said it in the story, that means that the Rebbe is making a mistake. He's not supposed to send his wife to the kitchen Friday night.
Yeah.
They're all supposed to eat by the same table.
I think by Rebbe, he said that they got married up tonight.
Okay.
Maybe.
Darash Rabbi Ula Rabba Apischa de Benasir. Rabbi Ula the Great, he said the drasha, following drasha by the door of the Nasi. Afapish, this is his drasha. Afapish Amoein Adam Zan is Banavu Bunosav Kshen Ktanim, even though a person, the Chazal said that a person is not obligated to support his sons and daughters when they're young. He doesn't have to. We went to the sugi before. He's not obligated to support his children when they're even when they're ktanim. Avol zan ktanim. If they're very young, then he is obligated. Ad kama ad ben sheish, till 6 years old, he's obligated to feed his children. The Gemara says later on that even after 6, if he doesn't want to, so we make a big announcement that he's not even as good as a raven. The raven feeds its young, and this man doesn't want to. But we don't force him. We just pressure him, but we don't force him. But here,
the raven kicks its young out of the nest. It's a very cruel bird. Crow, is that what we're talking about?
oh right,
I thought they could kick their baby out. They're known for.
you have to look at the Gemara before. I think that's what it said. That's what did they announce? Taisvis brings it down over here. Top Taisvis, second Taisvis. Mem Tesam of Beis.
We're saying Katan Ben Sheish.
Yeah, you're ahead of me. First it just said,
Oh, so where did it say about
Alpha.
raven?
no, it didn't.
It didn't.
I'm just pointing out that Taisvis says that when the Gemara says earlier that when someone doesn't want to support his children, they don't force him, but they just ridicule him and in public. That's after 6 years old. Till 6 years old, the Gemara says he's obligated to. We force him to support his children till 6 years old. He's bringing a support because it says that if when you have an Eruv Tchumen, whatever it might be, Eruv Tchumen, and you're going down the road on Shabbos, each person has to have an Eruv. Each person has to put down an Eruv in order to be able to go past the 2,000 Amos limit. So here it says that a child less than 6 years old doesn't need his own Eruv, he goes with his mother's Eruv. It's like saying in the olden days, nowadays it changed, but it used to be that a child could go with his mother's passport. He didn't need his own passport. Nowadays they need a passport even for a 1 day old. But not so long ago, they used to have that the kid goes with his mother. So that's what the idea was, but that the child's together with the mother, and therefore if she made an Eruv, that includes the child also. So too, the child's together with the mother till 6 years old, the child's with the mother, so the same we have to support her, you have to support the child also. The Gemara brings a right proof from our Mishnah. Says in our Mishnah, even though there's a certain amount of work that the wife is supposed to bring in income, we said she's supposed to spin thread in order to bring in some income, and she's what?
What's Patrinla?
It says if she's nursing, then we deduct from the amount that she's supposed to produce. We take away from how much she has to work. She's supposed to work a certain amount, and if she's nursing, so we take away from that, she doesn't have to work so much. And also, so you give her more food. Why do you give her more food? My time, is it not because he's eating with her? I think the Pshat Gemara is that why are we giving her more food to her nursing mother? Because she has to nurse in order to be able to give the child. So why is he obligated to do that? Because he has to feed the child. She doesn't need it, the child needs it. So you see,
she needs a lot when she's nursing.
because of the child. So that's what the Gemara is pointing out.
Michal is one. Michal.
Which one?
The
The mechal, to eat. To eat. The mechal, with her. That he has to eat with her.
Yeah.
I'm saying a pshat. I think the Gemara means to say that why is he giving her more? Because she has to nurse. So what? Because the nursing goes to the child. So it means he's obligating him to give food to the child. Why does he just say, I don't want him? Why is he obligated? You see, he's obligated. He's obligated to give to the child through the mother. So too, the Gemara is saying, so too, not even a nursing child, even if he's already 3, 4, 5, he also give the child. The same way you have to give a nursing child, give also to the child that is less than 6. But the Gemara says, no, maybe it's because of the mother. Maybe it's not for the child, maybe it's for the mother. That she needs more food because she's nursing, not because in order to make more milk, in order to be able to support the child. Really, he's not mechuyev to support the baby. But the Gemara says no. It should have said if she's sick, then she needs it. Why does it have to do with nursing? That means that you're giving it for the child. The Gemara says no. But the Gemara understand maybe it means to say that most nursing mothers, they are sickly and they need extra food. And the reason why you're giving her the food is not because of the child, you're giving it because of the mother herself. So it's no proof. Bada means together with her.
Means the mother needs the food.
The word bada means with her. The boy the mechal bada that he has to eat with her. And then the Gemara says, no, maybe it's for her herself, not for the child who's eating with her. It's for her. And the reason why she needs it is because she's been nursing. A nursing mother is more sickly. She needs more energy, not for the child. So it comes out that there's no proof. The mice we do pass them like this, that a person's mechuyev to support his child until 6. That's why Bezin Mamish forces. After that, it's we pressure, but we don't force. Rabbi Yeshua Itmar, Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, that we do give her wine. Wine is good for milk.
For a
Wine
nursing mother.
for a nursing mother gets wine. So even though we had a whole thing about wine before, here it talks about a nursing mother does get wine.
Because it would be good for them.
Good for the milk. Yashikar, everybody. Thank you.
We heard that when my wife was pregnant, it was always about that dark beer. I forgot what it's called.
Malt beer.
What is it?
Malt beer.
It wasn't called malt beer.
They say that the brewer's yeast is very good. Brewer's
There's some
yeast.
kind of a dark beer that's not, it's not alcoholic.
Uh,
But the Nesher is like really good for nursing.
Mhm, mhm. Nowadays, they say nursing mother should watch out not to drink too much, right? Is
Not to
that true?
drink
Only
alcohol.
pregnant? Only pregnant or nursing also? What is it? What is it on the label?
For sure.
Pregnant for sure. And nursing, it says also on the
I think it's a
label?
pregnant nursing. maybe.
And nursing,
Maybe
okay.
not.
Here it says that some wine is good.
But I thought
Probably
we
everything in
learned from Hannah
moderation.
that we- from
Hannah
Hannah we
wasn't-
can't-
Hannah wasn't pregnant. What do you mean from Hannah? What do you see?
I don't mean Hannah, I mean from the Shimshon's mother.
The one?
There it was because he was going to be a
Oh,
Nazir, but I thought there
yeah.
was also physical
No,
reasons.
because he was a nut. Says very because they're Nazir.
I thought there were physical reasons.
What physical reasons?
It will go into the milk and it won't be good for the child. Besides,
What does that have to do with Shimshon's mother? Over there says openly because of a Nazir. We learned that? I don't think so.
okay, no, so it's above, okay, it's just, yeah,
Sometimes they like to put things into.
they put it in, yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
also like the Habakkuk one, they said it was